how to do it. But anyway, welcome. I've introduced myself. You guys know me. But this is a page with a difference. As you can see, I've changed location. I'm actually doing this from my kitchen/dining area because a lot of the time we're going to be, and I'm not going to say cooking. I'm not promising cooking shows, okay? But a lot of the times we will be working with herbs, we will be working with supplements, we will be talking about all things health. So what is this page all about? Just so you guys understand. It came to me that there is such a huge need right now for us to start talking about food security, our nutrition, our health in general. Why? Because as ascending people, spirituality, your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, all those things are tied together. The tribe is here. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, guys, you definitely cannot have an unhealthy body and expect that you will be able to connect spiritually efficiently. You make life for yourself very hard if you are trying to manifest, if you're trying to connect with the cosmos in an unhealthy body. For several reasons, one of which is when you are in an unhealthy body, you are at unease. In other words, you're diseased. You are not relaxed. You guys know whenever we talk about meditation, it's relax, breathe in, breathe out. But if you've got an aching back or you've got a liver that's swollen because of toxicity, it is very hard to ignore that which is happening in your body in order to connect. Number one. Number two, as a spirit being inhabiting this physical body, you are obligated to take care of this physical body. Otherwise, balance cannot be achieved. You are obliged to take care of this temple, right? In which your spirit resides. That's why you have this physical body. Otherwise, you'd just be a spirit without a body. You have this body for a purpose because it is through this body, right, that your spirit finds its expression. So as long as your body and your spirit are still together, you are obligated to take care of it. So now for me, first and foremost, let me give you a bit of background. Like, how do I come to doing this? Actually, I was doing this before I became that. So before I twasad, I was a health and wellness coach. I am a health and wellness coach. Which is, when you think about it, it's healing, right? It's all part of healing. I've walked many paths to get to where I am now. And all those paths are interlinked and they all add up. And everything that I've ever learned, whether it be in school, whether it be experience, all culminates in what I'm able to offer people today. So, yes, a health and wellness coach. I was paid to do that job. I helped a lot of people who were struggling with weight issues because, again, as we will find out going on, struggling with your physical weight has a lot of different components to it. It is not a matter of you are eating too much or you are exercising too little. There are many variables that contribute to why somebody accumulates unnecessary body fat. We will go into that later. That's all going to be happening in this space, right? In the other space, we're dealing strictly with the ethereal and the spiritual, of course, and how it affects us. But here, want to focus more on food, nutrition, supplements, even your cosmetics, and understanding why your cosmetics have to be organic, why your cosmetics should not have certain chemicals in them. We're going to go through all that. This is a nice lifelong journey. I'm excited about because I am really passionate about health, all health sectors, not just spiritual health, but also understanding very deeply how all these things are interlinked. I feel like it would be such a loss if we didn't deal with this. Sometimes I have clients I see for what manifests and are spiritual issues, but they manifest in the physical. And part of helping them is also helping them change certain ways of doing things, certain ways of living that will assist them to become more at ease as a spirit in their body. Does that make sense? So, what are we going to be talking about? Like I said, we're going to be talking about food security. For the last, I'd say, 10 years, I have had it in my consciousness that there was a time coming where food security would be an issue. Well, lo and behold, we come into the age of Aquarius, and there's a lot of evidence that's now coming out that actually one of the major things that Western countries want to do is to keep Africa impoverished. And one of the ways you do that is to starve them, to make sure that they cannot produce their own food. So while we are out crying land back, there is a massive push for us not to get land back so that we don't produce our own food. Excuse me. So under food security, we'll also look at things like GMOs. What are GMOs? How do they affect us? There are different schools of thought on GMOs. I'm going to come here, give you the scientific, and also let you know why most people, including those who created the GMO, don't want to go near the GMO now. So we'll be able to talk about those kind of things. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about eating for the season and why that's important. Why do we have seasonal foods? For example, I know in South Africa now, summer is coming to an end, and there are seasonal crops that one can plant in the autumn going towards winter, such as pumpkins. And pumpkins, not so much. People will be harvesting their pumpkins now, but they're harvesting their pumpkins now, which can be stored to eat in the winter. We're going to talk about our indigenous diet. And a lot of people will call it the poor man's diet because sadly for us Africans, many of us have been colonized to believe that Western foods, and by Western foods, I mean things like fish and chips, fried chicken, mashed potato, those kind of things are a sign. When you can eat those kind of things, it is a sign that you're finally arrived. And what we call poor people's food is morojo and sorghum pap, masonja, which we will talk about. I might even make some masonja and eat them while you guys watch because I love those things. Okra, indigenous foods, meaning that foods that our ancestors were eating and foods that come from our place. We're going to talk extensively about corn or maize and why that is one of the biggest toxins for us, Bagwantu. It is not indigenous to Africa, as a lot of people think. Actually, corn is an import. And what is even worse is that the corn that is sold to Bagwantu is not organic even. It's not the original strains of corn. There were many different strains of corn, and it came out of Mexico and the Aztecs. They are the ones who kind of domesticated what was once a wild grass and created corn, and there are many different varieties of this wild grass. We'll talk a lot more about that. We'll travel the length and breadth of the continent describing indigenous foods in each place and why different groups were eating a certain kind of food. It's easy. People who live on the coast, they tended to eat a lot more fish. They tended to also use a lot more what I might call vegetables, if you like, or even still seafood, like seaweed, right? Sea moss. Where are these things coming from and why are people using them? We will talk about the diet that is indigenous but also heavy in starch, why it can't work anymore for us because majority of us are not hard laborers in the farms. Majority of us are like me who sits here and my job is to teach you. So how am I going to sit and eat a whole mountain of pounded yam and pepper soup and expect that all will be well with my body, right? We will talk about things like that. What else are we going to talk about here? My goodness, it's a lot. We're going to talk about supplements. We're going to talk about herbs. So I have done extensive work with Ayurvedic herbs. So what are those? Things like your turmeric, right? Things like your ginger. How can you use ginger effectively in your body? We're going to make concoctions and decoctions using different teas, different leaves. We are going to talk about the properties, say, of things like cinnamon and how you can use cinnamon for your health. We are going to go back to basics, because one of the things that, and a lot of you know this, is a lot of Western medicine, particularly the pills that they give you and the injections that they give you, have terrible side effects for Bagwantu. And why is this? Because a lot of the testing of these medicines, these pharmaceuticals, are not done in Black people. A lot of the testing of these medicine is done in, say, the average male, white male, which is 40 years old, the average white female, which is a female of 40 years old, and their children. So we get given things to take into our body that are, like, seriously, no tests have been done to see what may be the side effects on us. And one thing we now know is Tina Bagwantu and height people, we are very different genetically, right? We are 9 ether, having the 12 strands DNA, where they have 6 strands. That already is a marked difference, right? Meaning that your genetics even and your epigenetics is vastly different from that of a white person. These things are not taken into account when they are doing their tests on drugs and so on and so forth. So going back to the way our ancestors did it, I think, at least for me and my experience so far in the health field, both as a traditional healer, both as a health and wellness coach, you will find that that's one of the things I've always talked about. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, we're going to talk about indigenous African medicines and supplements, because there are certainly plenty of African medicines and supplements that you can take without necessarily requiring me to prescribe it for you, right? There are certain herbs that, like in Dolwane, and I will be putting up links for where you can get this stuff if you want, because I'm not going to talk about things that you won't be able to have access to. So I will definitely be sharing links as to where you can get this stuff. It comes with full description and full prescription of how you should take it by yours truly, of course. And so you can't go wrong. Now, there will be also things that we will look at. We will look at things like fertility, infertility. We will look at things like sexuality, right? Why is there the sudden drop in libido in men and in women? There are biological reasons behind that, but there are also things that people can do within their own lives to ensure that they have healthy sexual lives, healthy reproductive lives. So fertility issues, using our herbs. I have several people who tried in vitro, didn't work. As a last and final straw, came and tried some of my concoctions, and hey presto, I'm godmother to lots of little babies. So these are all things we're going to talk about. So the fertility thing is not over the counter. We would need to hlola to first find out. So we need to do divination, first find out what's really going on, right? Emoyeni, what is affecting this? If it turns out that this is something that is needing some more spiritual intervention, we do that. And then we prep your body for these herbs. Why? Because your body does need to be prepped by certain cleansers. And then once your gut and your body is prepped to uptake these herbs, then you uptake these herbs and you get on with the magic of the making of the babies, and then you get pregnant. We're going to talk about fibroids. We're going to talk about endometriosis. What is causing all this? There is a disproportionately high or large percentage of Black women across the world who suffer from endometriosis and who suffer from fibroids. This is something that we will talk about extensively. We will talk about herbs that can help shrink your fibroids, and taken regularly and consistently, They go away. There are a lot of people who've been told they can't get pregnant because there's a huge old fibroid in the uterus. Well, you know what? We shrink the fibroids and you get pregnant and you have your babies. There is, what else we can talk about? So why supplementation is important is because we are going to be talking about how the different supplements support our bodies, because our bodies are constantly being bombarded by pollution, right? There's no way to avoid it. There is no way to avoid it. As it is so important to do a regular cleanse, even once a month, be it a colon cleanse, be it a liver cleanse, be it a kidney cleanse, be it a general cleanse where you're cleansing everything. But it's going to be necessary to do these things because our bodies, we have heavy metals in the air, we have heavy metals in the fillings that you put in your teeth. If you've got old silver fillings, you need what is called a heavy metal detox. I had all mine removed and replaced. We are bombarded by toxins, so I've said, in the air, in our soil, and therefore in our food. We are bombarded by pesticides. Pesticides are great toxins. They are polluting rivers because remember, runoff from the fields goes into streams that goes into rivers. So the very water we drink has a certain level of contaminants which over time can wear out your body's organs and exhaust them. This leads to unwellness and generally it can shorten your lifespan. So those are some of the things that we're going to be looking at. We're going to have some biology lessons where we're looking at different organ systems and what foods or what supplements are required to detox that particular thing. We're going to talk about fasting, the importance of fasting in terms of boosting your immune system, boosting your brain health, and boosting your overall well-being. Because guess what? Most of us are nothing too much as it is. And I'm one because I love food. And there's nothing wrong. The key is to feed your body things that are nutritious. And that is something that you have to be intentional about. So we will be talking about all the things. If there are any questions, I'll take questions now. This is just me coming in to greet. Please share this, let's get these numbers up because I'm telling you, somebody is going to need this information. In fact, we all, Bagwantu, are going to need. I'm going to give you some literally eye-opening stuff here. You're going to be like, whoa. This is how they do us. Yes! And they will continue to do us if we don't wake up and if we don't start taking control of our own lives. This is the one problem I want to have is, do you realize that most of us are not in control of our lives. We're not in control of food production. We're not in control of how we feed our children or our babies. We're not in control of our health. For a minute, we're not in control of our spirituality because if you're into religion, there's no way you're in control of anything. Yeah, because that thing is meant to disempower you. So in so many areas, I don't know any other human beings on this planet other than Bagwantu who have so little control over their lives. We're spending our dollars in places that maybe we'd rather not, but because we're not ourselves providing the alternative spaces to spend our money doesn't stay and circulate in communities. So we have a serious problem. Please share this out to the page because I'm about to talk about this another dumb holiday that's coming up called Valentine's Day. And I'm going to link it in here. I was literally going to do a separate live, but I'm like, you know what? May as well spill the beans. I know you're all coming from there anyway. But here's the thing. Do you realize something? And when you sit, you'll see it for yourselves. We just came out of Christmas. The whole of January, people were crying. Oh, December killed us. People spent money on things that are quite ridiculous in shops owned by white people. And libelisenzani with that money as you were spending it. Linigela amadlozi wabelungu. And you expect that all will be well with you. Some of you will spend that kind of money, like thousands. But you haven't so much as poured water for your own ancestors. And you think it's going to be well with you. Now, this is December. Where are we now? February. There's this Valentine's Day. Do you guys know the history of Saint Valentine? Valentine was called Saint Valentine. It's based on a Catholic martyr, somebody who was murdered. And he's now the patron saint of love. Where do you and Valentine coincide? But guess what you're going to do? You're going to pressurize somebody's child who's already struggling because it was December to go and get you some gift as a way to prove that they love you. And that money is going where? Because what? You're going to the shops of the height peoples to do what? To spend that money. What do you expect is going to happen with you? I just want you to think about it. I'm not saying, and I mean, gosh, please don't come and choke me because I am speaking against spending money on Valentine's Day. My thing is this. If somebody has to prove their love for you by buying you a gift, I know, man, maybe I'm old-fashioned. For me, it smacks of a transactional relationship rather than a transformational one. Now, hear me well. I'm not saying don't get gifts for your loved ones. Actually, gift giving is fantastic. And many of you, or especially women's love language, is gifts. We like gifts. But my point is, why must you buy these gifts on this particular day and they're all wrapped in red and white? Guys, lenzani rituals. It's a ritual. So Christmas is a ritual that you're partaking in. Amadlozi abelungu. Valentine's Day is another ritual that you're partaking in. Amadlozi abelungu. Easter is coming straight after. Guys, do you see how we are trapped? We are finished. Unless we become conscious, we're really finished. Easter is coming up in April. What are you doing? You're going to go Easter shopping and Easter dress shopping and what? Nigelan, Madlozi abelungu. And throughout the entire year, there are these periods where you are pouring libation in a sense for Amadlozi abelungu. Guys, think about it. What does that do to our ancestors while you're busy doing that? And then you expect things to go well for you. That's always the kicker for me, is you're doing all this kind of mess. Oh, I forgot. Oh, Africans have started doing Halloween. We will talk about Halloween when the time comes so you understand what you're doing. Halloween is around what? It's around what is called All Souls Day or the Day of the Dead. Lenzad. All black and ugly, hideous costumes, and you are eating sweets. Linigela uman. So these are things for us is about wanting to bring ourselves to ourselves and really think about. And on this page, I mean, like I said, this was going to be done somewhere else, but I figured may as well while I'm here in this introduction. So what I'd love to hear from you guys so that this becomes something that is of value to you. What I'd like to know from you is, and you can do it under this live because then it'll help me. Give me some health topics you'd like us to cover. Right? Give me some health topics you'd like us to cover because it's possible that they're already going to be covered, but it's also quite possible that there's something that I might miss, I and my team, meaning my spiritual entourage, might miss that you guys really need. So, yeah, do let me know. Also, one of the things that comes to me is I will definitely have guests on here. I will have different guests from the medical/spiritual field to come and share with us some. I love the combination of the physician/sangoma because those guys like know a lot and they are able to bridge that gap sometimes that a lot of people can't quite bridge for themselves. So there's several people I have in mind already who I will invite so that we can chit chat, so that we can help those who need help. There are also people who, if I come across somebody with a complicated health condition, remember I'm situated in the States, which kind of makes it difficult for me sometimes to do real practical work with people. But I will be happy to offer referrals to those people because they're people I know, like, and trust. So that's all coming. So I hope you guys are as excited about this page as I am. I'm super excited. And on the issue of food security, one of the things that you will see me post a lot about is growing your own food. Now, look, I'm going to post pictures of me 10 years ago when I was young and innocent with my girls, where we used to plant a garden. We had a little garden that we planted. What is the importance of growing your own food? Number one, you're taking back your power. You're taking control over at least one thing, which is what you are eating. What are you putting inside your body, right? Some people might say, oh, I live in a small place. I don't even have space for it. I'll show you how we did it, because we didn't necessarily live in a small place, but for the place that we lived, gardening wasn't really allowed. It wasn't a thing, right? So we did it our own way. You can use pots, guys. You can use flower pots to grow morojo. You can make a little box and put soil in it and grow. I'll post the pictures, you'll see. You can get pots which you plant like strawberry seeds, and you can reap strawberries because strawberries are runners. There's so many ways in which you can grow your own food. But also, more importantly, and I'd like you guys to make the spiritual link to this. You know, we are always crying for land back. We have to demonstrate to Umoya what we will do with land when we get land back. We can't sit and go land back, land back. If Umoya says, here's the land, then what? Look at each other and say, okay, now we have the land, what are we going to do? So by demonstrating, you know, Umoya, the cosmos, responds to gestures. That's why we keep talking about coming together as Bagwantu, as a collective, to Phahla, like on Sundays, Esgodlweni with Omkulu and co, right? It's a demonstration that we want this unity. It's a small demonstration, but Umoya responds by amplifying that message. Same with us and growing our own food. We're demonstrating to the cosmos, Uguti, we will do this. The little that we have, we're going to be creative, and this is what we can do with the little that we have. Please give us land. We want our land back, so that when the land comes, and it will come, Umoya and us are in resonance, because Umoya sees us demonstrating that we will be productive on this land. Spiritual gestures and rituals are important for so many different reasons, and that is one of them. To demonstrate to Umoya that you mean business, right? So there will be ideas. I might actually, there's Mkulu who's helping us with a garden in Soweto. I might actually bring him on here and do a live with him to talk about, you know, how he helps other people with gardening projects and so on and so forth, so that if you don't know where to start, right, there can be somebody who can guide you in doing that. I don't know whether he, you know, when I do the interview, he'll be able to answer all the questions that I don't know too. All right, what else is there that we can talk about? Ask me some questions. I'm actually looking. Somebody says, yeah, buying love. That's what it feels like to me, right? And you know the amount of stress people are putting each other under for this Valentine's Day. People are stressing because it's like an expectation now that at Valentine's Day, and then people who are like, we don't want flowers, we don't want champagne, we want more. So it's like, hi, bo. And if the dude or the lady can only afford a box of chocolate, now this person must go in debt because you are making it clear you want more. Guys, we're so wrong. The way we are, there's no balance. We really need to become conscious of how we're moving and how we're destroying ourselves and destroying our own efforts. So we've got the enemy without, right outside, and then we have the enemy within, and we really need to start looking at this enemy within. Why are we so self-destructive? Why are we picking up? And again, it's a Western thing, it's a Western concept. We are taking it and we're upping the ante. It's like we take everything embi enzwa ngumlungu and we perfect it or we amplify it. Yini le? No, man, we mustn't. Just think right now of the men who are trying to put together pennies to get you a gift because he feels like, well, if I don't step up and give her a gift, God help me, she's going to go with someone else. Yinile. That's a conversation for another day, this whole expectations thing. It's really irritating and it's damaging to our quest and our desire to bring balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We're never going to be able to achieve that if we hold on to attitudes that were never ours to begin with. But we've swallowed hook, line, and sinker. And we are the masters of now. So, I hope I've given an idea. I'm trying to scroll to look at the comments. I don't want to keep you guys for long. I don't see any questions, guys. Like I said, if after I'm done, you have health topics you'd want us to touch on, please go ahead and, just put them down there. And I will look at them and see what I have planned for us. And then we can get going. So... so on the cosmetics thing, what am I talking about? Well, you do know, for example, that in cosmetics, go and pick up your lotion bottle and see how many ingredients are in there. And look for the word paraben. Look for the word paraffin. Look for the word, it's acetone. Look for a word, any word in there with sulfur. And then we will have a conversation about what it is you're doing when you are putting body lotion all over your body. And first, before we do that, we will talk about the skin and what the skin actually is. Because a lot of people never even think about their skin in that way. So we're going to have lots of fun. I think. I look forward to teaching this. It's going to be like some biology, some anatomy, some biochemistry, all different things all in one, but all of it geared towards getting Bhagwan to conscious of their physical health, how it affects their mental health, how it affects their emotional health, and how it affects their spiritual health and their ability to connect with the cosmos. Ne? So, I love you guys. I really thank you for being here. Like I said, share it out, share it out. Let's get more people here. And on here, I will probably be a lot more regular because these are structured lessons as opposed to waiting for Umoya to tell me what to teach or having Umoya stop me from teaching something that I thought I was going to teach and then you don't see me for weeks and weeks. So I'm really excited. I look forward to all the interactions. And like I said, I mean, I might cook up a thing or two, but I'm not promising, but I just might. All right. Nyanitanda, I love you guys so much. And thank you for your support always. Thokozeni.